Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now on with the show.
Hey Flash family, welcome back to the Flashpoint. I am Lilith, and with me as always is the lovely Kelly.
Hey!
Up for discussion today is episode 118, All-Star Team-Up. And if I had to describe this episode in one phrase, it would be high five. How about you, Kelly?
Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
Kelly's channeling her inner Felicity Smoke, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there's lots to talk about, so let's get into the synopsis and then we can break the rest of this episode on down.
All right. Barry is surprised when Felicity Smoke arrives from Starling City, along with her superpowered boyfriend, Ray Palmer, who flies in as the Atom. They've come to visit Star Labs, as Ray needs help with his suit. Their timing turns out to be fortuitous because it's all hands on deck after a person named Brie Larvin unleashes hundreds of robotic bees to attack and kill her former coworkers, including Dr. Tina McGee.
Protect Tina at all costs.
A group dinner with Barry, Felicity, Ray, Iris, and Eddie turns into an awkward disaster.
Can the CW shows just stop doing dinners altogether? It never turns out well. I'm talking from Beauty and the Beast to Rain to the Vampire Diaries to Arrow, and now the Flash is in this unfortunate category. Just stop.
Hey, at least it's not like HBO. At least it's not weddings.
Yeah, Diggle's Wedding could have turned out a lot worse had it been on HBO.
Yes.
The Green Wedding. Okay, you got me there. So, first we are talking about episode 118, All-Star Team-Up. This episode was written by Grain Gottfried and Kai Wu, a winning combination every time they get together. And this was directed by new to the Flash director, Kevin Tancharoen. So yeah, let's get into the guest stars. Well, we had Brandon Roth and Emily Bett Rickards reprising their roles from Arrow as Felicity Smoke and Ray Palmer / the Atom, respectively. We also had Amanda Hayes reprising her role as Dr. Tina McGee. The Kenny lady from The Walking Dead, the Bug-Eyed Bandit. They gave it a gender swap from the original comic book character.
Larvin, that just makes me laugh.
I was just like, you didn't even try it all, did you? Her name is Emily Kenny. I knew that's what it was. So we kind of opened this week's episode
with them speeding through town. Well, Barry speeding through town and getting all the bad guys.
Yeah, that was cute. Joe was enjoying himself. It's kind of refreshing to see that, considering everything that was happening with Captain Lance on Arrow this week.
Yes.
It was really refreshing. Yeah, I did enjoy that. And then kind of while all that's going on, we see this lady at Hudson University. And by the way, like, they had such a procedural feel in this particular section. I don't know if Hudson was like an Easter egg, because if you watch any Law and Order franchise, Hudson University is kind of like their equivalent to New York, NYU, or Columbia maybe. So they use that all the time in all the Law and Order franchises. So it's really funny because we see these bees attack her, and then Joe and Barry are kind of like on the case. And, you know, Barry's like, I don't really want to take this back to Star Lab. I'm just going to do it at my lab. And Joe's like, dude, we got to play it cool. Can't let him, Dr. Wells know we're on to him. Barry's very about that. And so he does end up taking that whole situation back to Star Labs, and they figure that it's like, they think it's a meta that can control bees. And I was like, oh, honey. Boom!
You know what I loved?
What?
Oh,
no, of course I did. Blake Neely did an amazing job as always.
All the Flight of the Bumblebee.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, it was like variations on the theme of Flight of the Bumblebee.
Yeah, and even Ray has his. Did you notice Ray's theme this time?
Yes.
Yeah, it carried over, but he kind of remixed it on here just a bit.
Yes.
I loved it. Of course, we love Blake Neely. And,
That's
just so
right.
you guys know, he is actually, I asked him on Twitter, and just to make sure that he was, because he's supposed to be working on Supergirl too. So he's working on the team up too in the scoring capacity as well. So he's going to be a busy man next season. He might even be working on Vixen. I mean, the soundtrack does play a really large role in this universe.
And it needs to be consistent. Yeah, and enough to be able for characters to go different places. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
But man, I can't imagine putting out that much output.
Anyway, so in the middle of their discussion, Felicity kind of pops in. I guess she has the key to Star Lab, or their security. Well, one of the two.
Their security probably knows her.
Still, just her to pop up on everybody, like, it was weird.
Yeah.
It was like when Malcolm just shows up in the Arrow cave. It's just like, damn it,
well,
gotta change the locks. But anyway, she's like, hey, come outside. I want you guys to meet my boyfriend. And they do this awful Superman reference.
Oh, it was terrible.
Because it was almost, if you've seen Superman Returns, when he returns, it's Jimmy Olsen who actually, does the classic, it's a bird, it's a plane, and I'm not want to remind people of that movie. Just stop it! I'm enjoying him as Ray Palmer. That is what he's going to be to me. Stop reminding me of that 2006 travesty. You guys know how I feel about it, so moving on.
Yes.
Ray lands awkwardly.
He lands like Iron Man, like a drunk sailor.
I thought it'd been cooler if he would have landed like the Terminator, like a boss that boom, puts a hole in the ground. But he didn't because he's Ray and he's awkward. So it's really funny. She's like, yeah, he needs help with his suit, and Barry's like, I'm a little busy right now. And Felicity sees something's up, and she's like, you know what, Ray, stay here, work on your suit. Me and Barry are gonna go grab some Java. That was great. Anyway, I was really surprised that they took her telling Barry's secret so well.
Yeah.
Considering nobody wants to tell Iris, say it.
Well, they're not. They are, but they're not really as concerned with their safety, though. Ray is another superpowered person, so he's pretty much got his safety taken care of. They're claiming that the reason that they haven't told. Yeah.
That's garbage.
But but Eddie also carries a gun. They're just saying that the reason they haven't told Iris.
That's such a garbage excuse. Oh,
I know.
In the dark to keep her safe. The light is where the safety is. Not the dark.
Agreed. Agreed.
And even
unless somebody kidnaps you and tortures you.
Yeah.
That's the only time that could be a problem.
Well, that could happen whether you're in on the secret or not. It's already happening.
Exactly. Exactly.
She's a self-rescuing princess at this point. So tell her already, because Eddie sums it up. So everybody knows but Iris, and Barry goes, yeah, it's starting to feel like that. I'm like, no, that's fact. Iris visits Eddie. She's like, yo, what's up? You're being all weird. And are you working with the Flash? She's like, me work with the Flash? No.
She's thinking in the back of your mind, are you having an affair? What's her name?
Yeah, I don't think that Eddie's that stupid. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, but she doesn't necessarily know that. She asked Barry later.
Yeah, I know, which we'll get to, but I don't know.
Yes.
I didn't like this turn of events for Iris because it's garbage. Because everybody in her life is lying to her at this point, and she's singling out Eddie, and it's garbage to me because Eddie's I just want to take Eddie away from the writers. Like, he's mine. Just let him come live in my happy fanfic land where nothing hurts and everything's perfect. That's what he deserves.
There you go.
Anyway.
Aw.
Yes. Protect Rick Cosmic at all costs. While at coffee, Barry and Felicity are talking, and then Eddie turns up and he says he finds out that Felicity knows. Then Felicity's like, hey, let's have a dinner party.
No. You missed a very important line. Isn't I left all dark and broody in Central or in Starling City?
Is it? Oh yeah.
Isn't Starling City supposed to be a happy place?
The fun one.
Yes, the fun one.
I could have took it or left it because the Flash has been getting progressively darker. starting to depress
Mhm.
me a little bit now too. So
Well, but the opening of this one was so
it
fun.
was definitely. But yeah, Felicity, classic Felicity. And then is this the one where she goes? No, this isn't where she says, "Be careful." Is that the one? They get the text message. I think this is the part, but
I think you're right.
where she's like, they get the text message that somebody else has been hit by the bees, and she's like, "Be careful." And Barry goes, "Really?" She's like, "Sorry, bad pun. Go." I think that's the first time she's ever apologized for a bad pun.
She must have been listening to our podcast.
Punny business, man. So anyway, after that, they go. Barry goes to the place where that guy at Folston, and the body is like dead, and he doesn't see the bees, and then the bees come out of his body. Ooh.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all.
And he's like trying to get out of there, and Cisco gives him the wrong directions, and so like he gets stung to death, literally.
He dies of anaphylaxis.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's like a defibrillator in his suit. But like Joe shows up and he sees him, and he's like, he calls Cisco's cutest little bro CP moment for me, but whatever. And he's like, he's dying. I don't know what to do. And Cisco's like, "I got this, bro. Just stand back. It's a defibrillator in the suit. I think of everything."
And of course, it's the flash symbol that's the defibrillator.
Honey business once again.
Mm-hmm.
Barry kind of goes back to Star Labs after he comes back to life, and he's like pondering through his mind about why the schematics were wrong. He's suspicious of everybody at this point. And Felicity kind of makes a joke, and Barry doesn't take it as a joke. She's like, "Dude, chill out." He's just like, "You know what? I'm just going to get dressed. We're going to go to dinner. I need to get away from all of this." And as he leaves, and they're like, "Didn't you just die? Maybe you should order it." He's like, No, I'm fine." And then Cisco and Caitlin go, "Hey, why weren't we invited?"
Because it's awkward dinner 101.
Yeah, Barry has to be the fifth wheel. So anyway, what happens after that? Oh, after that, Cisco goes to visit Joe at the precinct, and Joe's like, "Yeah, here's the links between them." And then, Cisco gets kind of weirded out.
Now, I have a question here. I don't understand why Cisco didn't understand that he could tell Joe, because Joe is the one who was trying to talk to Cisco to begin with, to explain that he kind of told him that
He planted the seed originally.
Yes. So why would Cisco be hesitant to discuss that with him when they've already broached that subject?
I know, but I think he wanted to actually talk about the flashbacks that he was having that's been keeping him up, and that sounds a little crazy. Because, their alternate timelines, like, even I think this is a bit much.
But then again, Cisco was the one who found the pictures. So they know there's an alternate timeline. He already knows.
I don't know. TV writing is TV writing.
That's true.
That's what I chalk.
Because of things.
Yeah, things and stuff and explosions.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's an emergency at the lab. One of the bees that attacked Barry made its way out of the suit, gets loose. But, like, at the dinner...
Wouldn't you feel a bee inside a suit that's that tight? Just saying.
On the neck, it does look a little loose where the hood it goes up or whatever. So it's supposed to be a robotic smart bee, so maybe it knows how to play hide and seek. I don't know. TV writing, Kelly. You can't think too hard. But
I would feel that.
You would.
Legs. Oh,
So that awkward dinner. Yeah. Like, it starts off okay. They have the place to themselves. Then Ray starts going on and on. Well, no. Ray and Felicity talk about how they work together and share everything. And Iris starts in on Eddie in just a ball and chain naggy way that just irks my nerves.
Yes.
And then Ray starts talking about what a great guy Dr. Wells is. And, like, Barry's basically full on panic mode. Like, I felt like that was a panic attack because, like, the room starts spinning. Sound kind of gets muffled.
Yeah, that was very much the way I took it as well.
Yeah.
And especially, okay, if you've ever been stung and, you get an EpiPen, your adrenaline is going like mad. I'm assuming it would probably be the same with a defibrillator. So there could be a good reason that he's having a panic attack.
I didn't even think of that. I just thought that like everything is coming down around him, and this Dr. Wells, like he can't keep this facade up because eventually he tells Felicity, like, dude, I think he's the guy that killed my mom.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Add to that, okay, I've just almost been killed. I've got all this adrenaline coursing through my body.
Yeah, he should have took
Who
a
wouldn't?
beat before he left for Star Labs.
Exactly.
I definitely think that between that whole scene and where we see the bees attack the Star Labs, there was like a scene cut because that just kind of felt rushed.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? We see like everybody trying to get the bee, and then Barry grabs.
And you see Wells' foot twitch, like he's gonna get out of the chair.
Dude, I thought that would have been awesome. Is like because Caitlin and Cisco's backs were turned, and so I thought he was gonna get out of the chair, and Barry was just gonna catch him right there. That would have been perfect. But that's a callback to that time where Barry got in trouble with the missiles.
Yes. There's been about 3 times that he's pulled that little foot twitch.
You're like, just do it so you can get caught. Do it, yeah. So anyway, after running some tests, I discovered that these bees were invented by Bree, and that she worked in Mercury Labs, and hey, Tina's probably up next. And then so they go to see Tina, and she's like, yeah.
Snarkiness ensues.
She's like, yeah, I had to terminate her. She was doing some bad stuff. She wanted to weaponize the bees. And they're like, yeah, you're in danger. You can come under CCPD protection. She's like, you know what? The last time that I tried to track you guys really didn't turn out too good. So, kick rocks. Get out of here. Then after that, Felicity calls Barry, and they meet at the coffee shop. And he's like, I want to tell Caitlin and Cisco about Wells, but I don't know if I can actually trust them. I've been so wrong about so much. And Felicity's like, dude, no. You just got to be able to trust him. She talks about her and Oliver before she actually knew he was the Arrow or whatever. So I was just like, okay, fast forward that. Anyway, afterwards, Barry goes home to find Iris on the couch. And she's like, is Eddie cheating on me? And he's like, no. I mean, not really. I mean, he's kind of cheating your trust to earn mine, but, I can't tell you that, so I'll give you a load of crap that sounds right. I mean, I appreciate that he didn't try to, sink that relationship between Eddie and Iris, but
yeah,
at the same time, dude, you need to, if you really love Iris, Eddie seems to be really good for her. You need to tell her the truth. Everybody has to stop lying to Iris because she feels like Quentin at this point.
Well, yeah, I think though that, Barry promised Joe, and I think he would, for his own conscience, he would almost have to get Joe's blessing to do that. You know what I'm saying? Just for himself.
I get that, but at the same time, Joe is not omnipotent. He doesn't know everything.
Well, right. It's very true. And, she isn't, it's not like she's 18 years old and living in his house.
6.
Right. She is an adult, and he needs to understand that. But yeah, it's tough because, Joe is a parental figure for both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
And he has to work with him too.
I'm just so frustrated with this Iris storyline. It was like we were going so good, and then we killed Mason, and it's not good. Bree sends her bees to Mercury Labs to attack Tina, who's sitting in front of the window, carefree as can be.
Not even wearing a beekeeper suit.
Nothing. And Barry can't go because his defibrillator's broken, but Ray has an impenetrable suit, but apparently it doesn't transfer to the next episode of Arrow, but whatever. Meanwhile, Barry goes to deal with Bree at her quote-unquote hive, and she act like, dude, she actually had a honeycomb, dress on, and I'm just like,
yes,
you tried it, Flash. You tried it. So, Felicity, jumps in, and, wait, is that the part? Yeah, Felicity jumps in, and she's like, no, I'm going to take frequency of these bees. And she kind of gets into this little, computer tech battle.
Hacker war. I have never had a nemesis. I kind of like it.
So, and so she finally, learns, how to get the bees, and, she fries it, and, they're arrested. Barry puts the cuffs on Bree. But one lone bee has escaped. After Ray kind of, they Well, meanwhile, how they diffused the situation with Amanda, Tina McGee, they got the bees to fry in the water, and Ray fried them, but he also fried himself. So he had to like depend on Caitlin and Cisco to catch him in the vein. In the 18 band 2.0.
Yes.
So after all said and done, one of the bees from Ray's suit gets loose, and like Cisco sees it and saves Ray. He takes a bee for him, and luckily Barry wasn't takes it. Is not too far away, and he comes to Cisco's rescue and uses his hands as a defibrillator to revive him.
Cisco needs a honey.
It's a hug. Like, I was just like, how many times can you almost kill Cisco? Like, honestly, I can't. My little heart can't take it. After that, Iris shows up the precinct, and she's like, yo, I can't do this anymore. You know, if you love me, go tell me.
Ultimatum.
Not cool, Iris.
I'm moving in with Daddy.
With Barry under the roof, same roof too. So it's like extra awkward, and I'm not here for it. You need to retool Iris ASAP. Now I'm really starting to understand why people have a big issue with Iris. She is really turning into Laurel 2.0, and that's a shame. Yeah. Because she is in game. Yeah. If they go by the comic books, which it seems like they are, they're in game. But at the same time, they both need to grow and date other people. And, you know, I just kind of don't like the idea of her constantly running back to Daddy. That's just not, I'm not here for that.
No, she needs to be a big girl and put on her big girl panties.
I mean, she's never at work. Joe did have a valid point. She's never at school, now she's never at work. I don't like this shit.
And she kind of has forgotten about her coworker already.
Yeah, because that was a believable
who disappeared.
Story. Not. Even if it was my boyfriend and my dad telling you that. Still, if you're a reporter and something doesn't feel right, you gotta trust your gut instinct. That was pretty much the end of the episode. And after the credit, they want to go karaoke, and Barry has other plans. He's got the murder board.
Yes, he does. And the Wells board.
The Wells board. That's a good one. And he's like, yeah, so here are my suspicions. Of course, Caitlin, like I said, she'd be the one that wouldn't believe because she's been there the longest with him. And Cisco's like, well, I can kind of believe it because I've been having these weird dreams about the Reverse Flash who is actually Wells killing me. I want to know what that's about. That's kind of where we ended. I'm happy that like Team Flash is everybody's in the loop. Everybody trusts each other. We had a fun little team up. And Ray and Cisco, by the way, we need a name for them.
Risco.
I like it. Anyway, let's talk about the grade.
I enjoyed this episode. Wasn't my favorite, but it had a lot of fun stuff in it, especially the beginning scene. That was just hilarious. And a lot of fun snark. So I'd probably give this one a B. What did you think?
I'd give this episode a B-. It was fun, but awkward dinner parties, and you know the fact that we're not dealing with the metahuman like that. Like they could have saved Bree for Arrow, really, honestly.
True.
Which would have given her and Felicity more time together because I actually kind of like Felicity having a nemesis.
Yeah, she needs that dynamic. She needs to be more Garcia.
With glasses that are, you know, attractive and capable. I like that.
Yes. That have a quirky fashion sense, exactly. Yes.
So, I don't know, that's like kind of the misstep for me. Like, I come to Flash for metahumans. Like, they could have just swapped.
Yes. Yeah, they should have swapped villains
but
this
I
week.
think it's a bigger storyline because of what happens in Arrow. But I'm just saying. This has to be nice. It was fun. But it's just a lot of unnecessary stuff. Like, it's just like kind of like, hey, this is our episode to be punny.
Very true.
But it was fun. That's what I come to Flash for.
Even punny with the soundtrack.
Yes, definitely. Blake, I can tell Blake had a ton of fun with this episode. He had a ton of fun with Arrow this week, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Best scene?
I would have to say it would be, for me, probably the scene where I love the awkward conversation between Caitlin and Felicity. It's like dating Barry and Oliver's body.
A sin she'll never
that was just kind of funny.
Anyone. But Dr. Wells was like,
because
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, I know. But that's like what everybody's been thinking in their head, but been afraid to say for how many episodes?
And that actually sums up why I kind of don't like this iteration of Ray Palmer, honestly, because in the comic books, he's so much more complex. And not as awkward. And he was actually kind of channeling Bruce Wayne this episode, and you know how happened. I think my favorite scene was when Joe finds Barry after he's been stung by all the bees. Like, I don't know, like, I love that relationship. They've kind of been putting that on the back burner. So it's just kind of and they did have fun in the beginning, but this was kind of like a serious moment. And it's just like a gut punch to remind you that, yeah, Joe really does love this kid like he's his own. He was so distraught, and I think that's just always a nice reminder. I'm a glutton for punishment. Don't judge me. Let's move over to favorite lines, and I know the whole Barry and Oliver's body thing probably was one of yours.
That was one of mine.
Anything else?
The whole Tachyon prototype with Miss Tina was hilarious.
Why? Do you have another one? Dr. Wells,
yeah.
Bastard.
He's hopeful. He's so hopeful. I love Cisco's bee rant.
I don't do bees. Ain't nobody got time for bees.
That's right. Because I'm with him. I am very allergic to bees. So yeah, I am with Cisco. And I also love the Cisco and Ray thing.
So have you picked a name yet? I'm kind of partial to the Atom. You married to that, or?
I love that they named the Bug-Eyed Bandit together. Barry, when he's like, oh, thank God, it's the food's here. Because I was thinking the same damn thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I thought Central City was supposed to be the fun one. That's what's it. Okay, so let's talk about most memorable moment.
I really loved the beginning scene. For me, just because, you know, here's Barry doing what he loves and having so much fun doing it. And watching Joe get to join in on the fun. Can you imagine if you were like whooshed out of your car and into another car? And how cool is that? I mean, they just had a blast.
He was living it up, dude. He definitely was. I think my most memorable moment probably was Barry not taking the opportunity to sabotage Iris and Eddie's relationship. He really dug deep for a good excuse for Eddie, and I enjoyed that. He said that he just wanted her to be happy. And that's what makes Barry different from almost any superhero on TV. He cares so deeply. He's a good person. I mean, Oliver is not like that. With reason. He's got a bag of feral cats and island girls running around in his head. But I don't know. I just think Barry's a sensitive guy, and I appreciate them portraying that on TV. You know what I mean? So I just appreciate that. Okay, so looks like it's time for some crazy crackpot theories. Kelly, I know you have one.
Oh, I have quite the crackpot theory. Okay, so from the beginning of all this, I always wondered, okay, why Barry's mom, right? What did she have to do with all this? Why her? So I started thinking, okay, in the last episode, we saw where Dr. Wells was in an accident, and Eobard Thawne, like, steals his body and becomes him, right? What happens, or what would have happened, if Barry's dad had, who was a cardiologist, had seen Dr. Wells prior to the accident, and then saw the quote-unquote new Dr. Wells after the accident? As, in the hospital, in the emergency room, to check him out. Okay, you got two different people, essentially. Now, two different people are going to have two different EKGs. Totally different EKGs. In fact, cardiologists, one thing they look for is they look for changes in an EKG to see if maybe they need to do more testing for a problem, right? So two people are going to have two very different EKGs. So what happens if Henry Allen figured out that something was up and started investigating, and that's why Nora was killed, to keep him silent? And that would explain why Nora. That would explain why she had to die. Because Henry wouldn't keep quiet. You know what I'm saying? He would have done the right thing. So, by the way, I ran this by one of my followers, Kristen, who is a field clinical engineer at St. Jude Medical Center. And she has a degree in cardiovascular technology. And she is certified by the International Board of Heart Rhythm Examiners in EP and cardiac devices. So she says it's plausible. So I made sure to research it, guys, to make sure it wasn't completely out there. And supposedly, it's plausible.
Oh, cool.
It sure would go a long ways towards explaining some
Only
stuff.
and the only thing about that is that they say specifically, and how much can you really trust, anything that comes out of Dr. Wells' mouth at this point? But he's there to kill Little Barry, but that could just be to throw them off the trail. Because there is always, as we've learned the hard way, there is always a super crazy twist when it comes to the Flash. And I definitely, I always liked that theory that we had at the beginning of the season. And with this last Trickster episode where, his dad just seems so content to be in jail as long as Barry stays out of it. It just kind of just feels like there's so much more to this story.
There has to be more.
So I like your crackpot theory. A lot of our crackpot theories usually turn out to be kind of right in one way or another. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the story develops. Okay, I still don't have a crackpot theory about why Cisco is able to see the alternate universe. If anybody has one, please send it into flashpoint.smg@gmail.com. I don't know if they're actually ever going to answer that question or not.
Hopefully.
It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I love the Easter eggs in this episode. We do have a Smallville shout out, and You've seen Smallville. Do you know what the Smallville connection is?
I didn't catch it.
So the 18th episode of Smallville featured an episode about bees. No, the first season. And this is the 18th episode of The Flash that has bees. And they both have somebody who's known for playing Clark Kent, just saying. Might not be Tom Welling, but so I found that's my little Smallville shout out. I always try to kind of They do it. They used to do it a lot in Arrow. They've toned it down, and I think this is only the first or second one for the Flash. So Brie Larvin is a reimagining of the classic DC villain Bertram Larvin, who's also known as the Bug-Eyed Bandit. He's mostly associated with the Atom. Go figure. So yeah, the Atom. It's just I actually didn't know that because I'm not a big fan of the Atom. Actually. Not the comic books anyway. The cartoon representations, awesome. The comic books, not so much. Also, Ray goes, we have the technology. And I was like, did you just make a $6 million man?
$1 million man, yes. I got that too.
And also the Atom where he makes a little shrinking with his hands. Almost like you guys are trying it. And he did debut his full mask here. Because it's the one that's kind of closer to the New 52. But man, when we get a close-up of that sucker on Arrow, it is fugly and it looks ridiculous. It just looks like fabric.
Yeah, it looks weird.
Another little thing that somebody said, who was it? Well, it must have been Caitlin, where she's like, what's with this disturbing trend of with billionaires being superheroes?
I was all questioning why they all start with A. And is it because they want to be first in the phone book?
I love Cisco's why did it have to be bees? Because that's, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Why did it have to be snakes?
Yes. I hate snakes.
Ain't nobody got no time for no bees. I swear, if we could just start off every episode with something like, ain't nobody got no time for, I would die. That's my favorite line. I say that all the time. Ain't nobody got time for your mess. Have you caught up with any of the, comic book tie-ins? I'm 6 weeks behind. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah. I am way behind too, and hopefully now that I'm not working so many hours, I can catch up, but I haven't yet.
Well, I should be caught up this weekend, guys, so yeah. You can yell at me on Twitter, flashpoint_SMG. You can yell at me on the email, flashpoint.smg@gmail.com. Or we just changed our Tumblr to accommodate the Flash podcast. We are now thatflashpodcast.tumblr.com. The Ask Box is still open. Anonymous is on, so please feel free to use it, but please don't abuse it. See how I just worked the shameless plugs right into there?
There you go. I figured we would have done a flash so we could be first in the phone book.
You should have. I told you we were changing it to That Flash Podcast. How could you tell me?
I didn't think about it.
Well, since I gave the podcast shameless plugs, I guess it's time for your shameless plugs.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and really anywhere that matters at Super Squint. That's SUPERSQUINT. You can read my reviews and articles at voiceoftv.com. And you can listen to me with Phil and Tyler on Before the Bat and also on Queen Consolidated with the lovely Miss Lilith.
Yes, that is very true. You can find me on Tumblr at Lilith Hellfire. You can find me on, you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. You can find me on Tumblr at LilithFairyHellfire.tumblr.com. My superwholackjunkie.tumblr.com is still active. It's a curated mess dedicated to all things supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock, both the BBC and elementary versions, as well as Hannibal over on NBC. So if any of that interests you, please be sure to stop by. And if you are a comic book geek or pop culture junkie, please check out my blog, littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. And if you are in the mood for even more podcasts, please be sure to check out our network, SouthgateMediaGroup.com, where you can find a list of, I think we're at like 70 plus podcasts at this point.
It's getting crazy.
A podcast for everything from Pinterest to Star Wars and everything in between. And
sometimes multiple.
Almost all the time now at this point. Be sure to check that out. And remember to download the podcast.
Because streaming doesn't count.
And if you're already there, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe as well.
Yes.
So that is about all we have for this episode. Our discussion of 118 All-Star Team Up. It'll be next Tuesday before you know it.
And we'll be back in a flash.